Getting myself to watch Nope was really scary, not because this is a horror film, but because it was made by Jordan Peele, a filmmaker that has gained a lot of my respect and admiration recently, as I'm pretty sure is the case with a lot of viewers at this point, by creating those imaginative, entertaining, and thematically rich works like Get Out or Us that added a new meaning to the horror genre as a whole. Nope is Jordan Peele's third movie, and I was worried it wouldn't live up to the high expectations I had of it, but man did it not disappoint. This film was a good complement to the series of Jordan Peele's works in the sense that it's very multifaceted, open to interpretation, and very rich with symbols and commentary. Yet, it was still a unique experience and an exploration of new themes and approaches. Nope is a story that leans more into the sci-fi horror subgenre, but like Peele's other works, it is not limited by that and definitely puts together a wide variety of plot elements, contrasting tones, and themes that generate a lot of thoughts and discussion. In this video, I will give my overall thoughts on the movie and why I think it worked so well for me, without getting into any spoilers, so you can stick around if you're interested. Nope is a story that follows a family of horse trainers that make a living through working for studios, and that by wrangling those horses during the filming process. We follow the story from the perspective of two characters, OG and Emerald, who are siblings, played by Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, respectively. They live in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, and all goes well until weird things start to happen. The power goes out, they hear unsettling sounds, and the horses start to get out of control. All of these things seem to be occurring because of some object roaming in the sky. Now listen, I don't think it would be a spoiler to say this because it is extremely obvious that the object in question is a UFO. And that's how you know this film takes a sci-fi-ish approach to the story, and what it does with that will be mind-blowing. From the trailer and synopsis, you see a presentation of what is so emblematic of a typical entertaining summer blockbuster. It's a very simple idea at the surface, which is something Jordan Peele loves to play with apparently, patterns that are easily identifiable and narratives that are enjoyable and accessible to a wider audience. I mean, you could tell that from such a simple title. It's Nope. Just Nope. As simple as it might seem though, it is still very packed and multi-layered. Plot-wise, the storyline presented in the synopsis is a main one, yes, but there are more subplots that get introduced and gradually build up until they make up for a meaningful connection with the main plot. The movie itself starts off with an introduction of story and character background that is emotionally impactful and sets up a solid mystery to solve throughout the film and makes up for a compelling character motivation. So the film makes sure you're hooked and invested before it goes on to explore the characters and their backgrounds further. It also incorporates plot points that seem disconnected at the beginning, but because they're built with similar care and attention, it is equally easy to get intrigued by them and try to connect them to the overall story. The pace is slow at times, but it shifts accordingly and allows careful development of the characters when that is necessary. We experience the story through the characters of OG and Emerald for the most part, and boy did I get so emotionally invested in them. The opening scene alone did a good job at helping me with that since it was very touching, and so I was very interested in learning how it impacts the character from there. Keeping that in mind, I was really impressed by what I saw. Each of them reflected very different but equally raw and real personalities that cope differently with the circumstances. OG's character is deeply scarred, and that translates perfectly into his demeanor and expression. His troubled nature fuels his determination and makes of him a character that is so consumed by his drive that it almost looks like insanity. I don't think Daniel Kaluuya ever disappoints in any of his roles, so it goes without even saying that he perfectly nailed this one. Emerald had a different approach to her inner struggles. Despite everything, she maintained an impression of a woman who's so comfortable in her own skin and full of energy that aims to contaminate everyone around her. And Keke Palmer more than delivered when playing for her character. It was so easy for me to connect with her whenever she appeared on the screen. But what both actors stood out for is how they brought to life a powerful sibling dynamic. Every interaction they had was so real. Their relationship with its complexities is so easily touching and relatable. This film also had a cast of side characters that are equally and compellingly fleshed out. We get introduced to this tech guy that joins in, named Angel, played by Brandon Perea, and the way he slips into the picture was very smooth and something that totally worked for me despite my huge investment in the protagonist. Steven Yeun offers an amazing performance performance as well for a role that has to do with a subplot. And I think his performance was one of the reasons why that plotline absolutely worked. Antler Holst, a character played by Michael Wincott, was a nice addition as well. I don't have much to say about it, but it was clear. One little disappointment I had was Barbie Ferreira, who was introduced with the main cast, and so I was excited to see her and kept waiting for her to appear until I figured she had only one scene that serves as a cameo. Overall, I feel the need to emphasize one unique thing in regards to characterization, and that's the character's interaction with everything that happens. Considering the premise of the movie, there are certain reactions one would expect to get, but the drive of the characters in this movie was so powerful that it kind of made them indifferent to the setting and put their motivation at the center, and I think that paid off so well by the end. I think that's also one of the reasons this movie has such an impressive tone and mood. You know, there is this horrific presence of some supernatural entities causing a big mess, and yet the characters are so set on another goal that they don't take much time to dwell on the very existence of this thing, and that's impressive, but also gives a sense of irony to the movie. It felt like a comedy somehow, and the tone seemed lighter as a result, even though I've already established that the movie is dark in tone. And it is that, indeed, on different levels. It's a horror film that incorporates tension with high stakes and also explores themes that are very heavy. That being said, it still manages to mix them up with moments of pure comedy. I don't mean it in like this vague, subtle sense I'm going on about, but actual funny moments and jokes that are introduced at the perfect time and don't actually disrupt the overall mood, and that's highly admirable to say the least. The variety of tones speaks to another characteristic of Jordan Peele's works, and that's the multiplicity of themes. There is so much to unpack in this movie. I noted down several things I thought it was commenting on, only to find out more and more theories made by others in regards to what the film entails. That seems like the thing with Jordan Peele's works though, right? You can take away many things from it and interpret it from various angles. The most evident commentary I caught on though was on filmmaking and all of the roles involved in it, so it could be a message about the collaborative nature of filmmaking. But it could also be broader than that, because this also applies to art and media in general, especially since the film revolves around UFOs. You can tell it has something to say about the making and reception of media and how it's used to represent reality. The setting could also entail a commentary on animal rights, and there is definitely a way to make a case for that. And that's only my surface level takeaway. I'm pretty sure there are more thoughtful approaches that take a deeper look into its themes. Given that this is a horror sci-fi movie, there is a lot that it had to do for its audiovisual presentation. I think it absolutely ruled from that aspect. First, for its choices for the setting, because you are in the middle of nowhere, and that's a perfect setting for such a story, of course. But this film stood out in the way it utilized that. To communicate the sense of horror and mystery of the story, it used this large, neutral, calm space to loosely incorporate its more chaotic aspect, both visually, in the way that it just hid that entity under an unmoving cloud, and also audibly in the way it merged the natural sound of the wind with the creepy otherworldly sounds of that UFO. And the movie is overall so big on sound design, by the way. It does a terrific job to evoke tension and horror throughout the movie so consistently that you can't but pay attention to what is going through your ears. The film also maintains its unique visual identity by using a colorful pattern that contrasts its dark and mute aspect, and it was beautiful to see those same colors manifesting in different places every time. The attention to perspective and camera angles feels a little bit meta, since part of the movie is about filmmaking and the art of taking perfect shots, and so one cannot but pay attention to how the director implemented the very insight given through the quote-unquote film these characters are trying to make in this film itself. In the end, I tried my best to get across the main positive aspects of this movie that made it work so well for me, and I'm pretty sure you can find even more insightful points elsewhere too. I'm not sure if there are ones that criticize it, but I personally didn't find pretty much anything that didn't work for me. It's a movie that is neat and seems to have perfectly achieved its end goal and wraps it all up so nicely. It stays true to the director's other works in essence, but brings something new to the table, so his movies don't feel tired or repetitive in any way. Overall, I'm just happy that it lives up to the high expectations I had for it, and I know it can't be everyone's cup of tea, but I like to believe that, at least, it did work for those of us who were fans of Get Out and Us. If you disagree, please share your thoughts below in the comments, and also feel free to do that regardless. This is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Go watch Nope and see what to make of it for yourself, and share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to this channel if you like the content here. For now, thank you so much for watching, and see you in another video.